All right, good morning. Let me know if you can hear me out there. If you can hear me, let me know. That'd be great. Okay, good morning, Jeff. Hey, Chantal, what's up? KT, Dutchy, everybody, good morning. I was going to post something. I was going to post two things for you. The earnings video, the educational earnings video. I'll post that. All right, we're going to get started in a minute right now, I guess. Get the streaming going. I'll go in the room in a second. I just want to post one more annoying thing. My webinar tomorrow. Can't believe I'm working on a Saturday. I swore that I wouldn't do that. Bear with me one sec. Can't talk. Okay. Friday morning. It's been a long, feels like it's been a long week, doesn't it? Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 10-minute trades trade room. Looking at something new, personal income and spending, Canada GDP. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director of 10-minute trades. Remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It's possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. And so a couple of different things. Now, there's a lot of news, and the chart would have to be so small to see what's going on with Canada. So let's look. Canada GDP, I don't think it's ready for prime time yet. Let's take a quick look. June 1st. This is 2 reports ago. Canada GDP is a report that when I first got here, years ago, I found it. We weren't trading it, and I noticed it moved like crazy. And so I told my boss, we made a DMM for it, and over history, it had been a very good report to trade. But you could see it just doesn't have a whole lot of impact right now. It had very big impact. So I'm hoping, so that was 2 months ago. Last month, it was difficult to trade. So it's not ready for money yet. When it starts to get some stable moves, that's when you want to start throwing money at it. You don't want to throw money at a report that's not consistent or directionally strong. So watch what happens. See, it gave you a good jerk up last month. Reversed pretty quickly. It wouldn't have stopped you out, it doesn't look like. It would have hit your first small target. Remember, Canada is only $5 a tick. Excuse me. And Canada is low liquidity also. Canada, not a million orders sitting waiting to be filled. But there are some good Canada reports. There really are. Their jobs report is really good to trade. The Bank of Canada statement is now very tradable. But GDP, it's not behaving that great yet. It's starting to move. Here's April. This was a test of April because I guess I wasn't watching it live. So this was using replay, not impactful at all in April. It did a news move. You could tell it jerked enough to fill you, which is not always the best kind of move. Sometimes you'd rather that initial jerk doesn't fill you if it's going to be dull. So just looking at the last 3 months of Canada's GDP behavior, it's not ready for real money. So you're not risking a lot by trying to trade it. I mean, that's the honest truth. It's only $5 a tick. I would use a 10 tick stop. 2 contracts, you're only risking $100. The setup I would use, and I mean, you want to use a setup that the report should respect. Wow. You want to use a setup that the report should respect when the report's moving properly. In other words, you don't want to use a test setup that just works occasionally based on small moves. You want to use a setup that is within reason going forward. So I'm not going to use a 3-tick bracket or a 4-tick bracket. I want at least a 5-tick bracket. If it can't do better than 5 ticks and also give me a 4-tick profit for the first target, I'm probably not that interested in trading it at all yet. So I would use targets of 4 and 10 for today, a stop of 10, and the entry time of 8:30. That would be my Canada GDP simulated setup. It's not a live trade, okay? But the nice thing about Ninja 8 is we can have 2 trades set up. Let me turn my recorder on. One can be live, one can be sim. It's a pretty nice feature. Now I have to make sure, I have to change everything now and get into the right account. Hang on one second. I don't want to trade in the wrong account. So let me disconnect my family money account and put my, whoops, I'm tired this morning. I went to sleep early. I slept through the whole night, which for me is rare. I'm usually up watching videos like at 2 in the morning for 3 hours. All right, so one more time, my Canada setup. Canada GDP, 5-tick bracket, 1 position for 4 ticks, 1 position for 10 ticks. If this was a good behaving report, I'd trade 5 or 6 contracts because Canada is only $5 a tick. But we're just testing, so you don't need to trade extra contracts when you're testing. You just want to see what the result is. So 1 target for 4 ticks, 1 target for 10 ticks. So you have a bracket of 5 and a first target of 4. So including slippage, you need at least 9 ticks plus figure a couple of ticks for slippage. If you can't get 11 ticks, if you can't get 20 to 25 ticks out of this report, it's probably not worth trading because that's the way that it used to behave. You'd get very nice moves. It's GDP. GDP is important data that markets like to look at. So it's hard to get a good chart going when there's no room. So we'll do our best. You know what? If you hit the F button and just leave it that way, then your price action will stay on the chart no matter what. That's a great thing to know if you are trading unattended and you can't be at your computer watching. Make sure you hit the F when you trade. So if you're recording especially, so when you come back, you'll see the orders. In other words, the price action won't leave the chart. When we're in the room, I can mess with my charts because I'm here. I can adjust my orders. Now, the report I'm looking at today that is kind of interesting. Let's do something. I didn't know that I had a really old video of this report going back to August, a year ago. That's how long ago we started thinking about this report. Thinking on the right side. And last August, we were in the bowels of the pandemic. The bowels of the pandemic. That's funny sounding. Personal income spending didn't really, let's give it a second. It was especially a small report. Back then, it wasn't really being watched. But look, I think I need a new throat. It had a very nice move. It was just a little bit delayed. Okay. It was just a little bit delayed. Canada GDP is in another world of no impact. Not a gigantic move on personal income spending. But it was already starting to move a year ago. So, we've been watching it. And I figured what I would do, because I want to see if this report has any hope at all. Trade one contract, looking for like 7 ticks with a risk of 10. Okay. I don't want to risk on a test trade $200 because I don't want to do that to my boss's account if I'm wrong and it's not yet ready for prime time. But it's reasonable to do a test trade looking for one target, one stop, so you're not having a major loss of money if you're wrong and it's just not a good report to trade yet. So ultimately your important test is almost always going to be live, right? The live test is the absolute real truth. Now, gold is, even though the markets, correct me if I'm wrong, the markets, I thought, I saw a note, the markets were pretty volatile this morning, weren't they? The NASDAQ, yeah, it was down like 171 points. That's quite a bit. That's what I read. And the ES was down quite a bit, 29 points. Remember, GC is 1221 on the contract now. 1221. So GC is a little bit calm. Now the open's going to take place now in 10 minutes, 8:20. I don't like using, in these volatile markets, I don't like using 5-tick brackets. I think they're a little bit smallish, okay? My gut feeling and our previous test was 6. This was last month's personal income and spending. We tested it live in the room. I shouldn't say 100% we were live in the room. I think we were live in the room. I can tell it's a live market test, You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. No, I'm wrong. It was replay. Sorry. 10 seconds before the news, and I put the news up. It was a little bit mixed, the news. Not a great reaction. I'm not sure this trade's really ready for prime time, folks, if you want to be honest. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. So look, you know what? Actually, it was a good move. So what we're seeing, though, what's interesting, we looked at two reports, right? Two videos, and what's the common thread that goes through both videos? Slow reaction. So you got to sit and wait. You have to wait. Now, I notice I used a 5-tick bracket in my test last month. It would not have mattered, 5 or 6. You get a good move like that, you're perfectly safe with that 6-tick bracket. Here's the setup that I had. That was a pretty good move. Now, look, one move does not a trade make, right? But we've been watching this report. There is activity on this report. I just don't want to spend $200 of my boss's money today. You know, I joke around. I say my boss's money. It's the company's second account. It's not my boss's money. Everything is my boss's money. They own the company. Hey, by the way, I see there's a fair amount of people watching on YouTube. Thanks for watching, YouTube. How about giving us a couple of likes? All right. Steve, there is typically a lot of gold activity at 8 o'clock. The gold open takes place at 8:20. 8 o'clock to 8:30 to 9 o'clock, one of the more active time periods for gold. So you're going to see that probably every day. It is what it is. It's a busy time of day for gold. So I'm going to put a target of 8 ticks. I'm going to risk 10 with a stop at 10. Just one target. My entry time. You know what's interesting? Never mind. I think I made a template last month. 829.59. Did you know you can make a template so you don't have to retype your trade every month? Let's say you have a trade set up you really like. So I got a bracket of 6, one target for 8 ticks, a stop of 10. Entry time 829.59. I just love this trade. I'm going to label it. I love it so much. The instrument I trade, I put that first, and then I put the name of the report. It's nice if you spell it right. And then, before you do anything else, hit template, save, and then type in personal income spending, right? And you might want to give it a date so that you know when that setup was created. Then you can apply it and okay it. But if you come back in a week and see, there's the label, personal income spending. So if I want to cancel the trade for any reason, I can. Then if you come back a month later and I just load up my Ninja and it's personal spending time, I forgot what my setup is, but I was smart enough to create a template. I load the strategy, right? There's my strategy. I go to template. Instead of save, I type load. And then I find my setup, personal income spending. 7:30:21. That's my most current one. So I would double click that and it loads the template in. That's a good little feature of Ninja. Okay. Now, if people stick around after the trade just for 5 minutes, I'll go over next week's schedule with y'all. I have next week's schedule. So what do I have to do? I have to try and be patient. What's interesting is this test account that we're using, it's up about $800 since we started family money trading, and we're just like testing in this account. And that means we're doing a lot of bad trades in this account too. And it was like 7,500 when I first started. It's 85 now. So it's funny how the test account has been doing better and better. Now let me put it on live. I don't want to be on sim on the personal income. So click the strategy, highlight it to make a change. You have to be highlighted. You have to be not enabled if you want to make a change. If you're enabled, you can't change the strategy, so you have to uncheck it. And what I didn't do is I didn't turn my account on. I left it in sim. So turn your account on. That's all you have to do. Reapply it. Okay it. Now when I check it, it's on my account. My charts are on live, and we're going to now also verify. Gold's getting ready to open. We're going to verify our time sync, right? By going to the website time.is. And when you go to the website time.is, it tries to sync your computer. And it syncs mine all the time, almost all the time. And like I say, every day in the trade room, if you go to the taskbar of the trade room software, you see a room drive. If you double click on that room drive, you can download Dimension 4. Dimension 4 is a time sync program that will put your computer in sync if going to the website time.is does not work. So you use Dimension 4. Dimension 4 looks like this. Here's what Dimension 4 looks like when you click on it. So I put it on my taskbar so I can click it easily without looking for it. Dimension 4 looks like this. It has these servers that it syncs to. All you have to do is click Sync Now. Watch this line here that says synchronized, and it will change. That means it's syncing to the server location in this box. Pretty simple. Press Sync Now, and it synchronizes if the time changes to the server in the location box. So you could see the time keeps changing. Then what you do, go back to time.is. It's quick and easy. And 9 times out of 10, if your computer was not in sync the first time you went to time.is, and then you use Dimension 4, it will be in sync. And if it's not in sync again, do it again. You can do it twice, 3 times, sync it a couple of times with Dimension 4. I've never had Dimension 4 be unable to put me in sync. So Google, there's a lot of people on YouTube, watching us. How about a couple of more likes? We need the money. Likes are good. They'll get us paid one day, like when we have 1,000 people watching. How about giving us a couple of likes? We'd appreciate it. Sign up for the for the channel. So I don't know what's going to happen on this report. I'm willing to risk $100. I'd rather not lose it, but it's an experiment. That's what our test account is for. We test, and sometimes you want to test live. We talk about that all the time. So we have a nice group of people here. So who's new? Let's see who's here. I don't know everybody's names. All right, a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. I see. So Canada, you got some volatility. See how the price stays on the chart because we click the F, but it's not going to be in the best position. See, ideally, I'd rather have my orders in the dead center of the chart. But then the candles can go off the chart too. Now, so remember, and I'm not recommending that anyone take this trade. I'm just testing this trade, okay? This is a test trade. Al, why are you watching on YouTube when you can come in the trade room? It's delayed on YouTube. Al, you know that, right? You realize that? That's important to know, that if you're a member, don't watch us on YouTube. Come into the room. No delay, right? No delay. See, when you're watching just a stream, like a tech review or something like that, you don't know there's a delay because you're not comparing it to something that's happening in real time. But things like trading, I'm in bed. All right, Al, I get it. I get it. It's easier. So you're probably not trading, so that's fine. You can watch. Watch it on YouTube is fine. I would not trade from YouTube because it is delayed. And some of our trades are so fast, it could be almost over by the time you even just start to enter. Right? All right. So I think there's some extra quarterly reports in here also. Employment wages is quarterly. That doesn't happen every month. It could make this a little trickier. Could make it a little trickier. But we want to see, it's in some ways it's good to do a test when it also includes the quarterly data. You get to do a test at its most unusual, and if it works at its most unusual, then that's really a good sign for a report having a lot of potential to trade. This is a report that we're interested in. Good morning, Albert. And okay, Al, you got out of bed. Good for you. So Albert, we're trading. I'm trading just one contract for 8 ticks, personal income and spending. I'm not really recommending that people take this trade. It's a test trade. We're looking to see if this report is ready for the big time or not, or if it's still in the minor leagues. We do know that we want to be patient. And we do know there's some extra reports with it. So we're going to look curiously to see if the news is matching or if there's a lot of conflict in the data. Now at 9:42, we don't have a trade room for Chicago PMI. We used to have a mini DMM for Chicago PMI. It has not been trading horribly, but it's such a small little trade. And it just hasn't been worth putting the time into it. I want to be 100,000,000% honest. I have a webinar tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow. I would normally have a trade room for Chicago PMI, but I had something I had to do today, to be truthful. But it's not a trade that fills me with a tremendous amount of confidence. That's being honest. So we don't have a DMM for it. It's something you can watch and record, see how it behaves. Maybe at some point, I think at some point we will start to trade it again. And then Big Al's asking, what was our win on the second family money trade yesterday? Oh, a couple of bucks. It was a little bit tricky. Yesterday was a tough day. Bonds. It was this 7-year bonds. I made 2 ticks. I'd say 50% of people made money, 50% did not. If you look at the range chart, it did a monstrous pullback that you couldn't see with the naked eye, and that created chaos in the results. Because it looked like it was just one steady move down, but it wasn't. And then we made money on Amazon earnings. Exactly, Calvin. I was just going to say that. Now, Calvin, AirCal, we have a few people in the room that go back to when I first got here, and there's a couple of people that go back to before I was here. I was talking last night to one of our, I don't call them old timers, we call them founding members or legacy members. The way they used to trade before I got here, everything was traded on oil at one time. I don't know if you remember, but like 5-6 years ago, oil moved on every bit of news. It was over $100. Let's watch. Oil was incredibly tradable on all news reports. Canada GDP. So the news is out. I don't know if we're going to get, now it looks like we're going to get a reversal. We said it's real choppy. I think we're going to get stopped out. I don't like the chop. Yeah. All right. I don't think we did anything wrong, but I mean, the personal income wasn't bad. It just wasn't a very good move. And you had, I think the conflicting data is what hurt us. It looks like the quarterly data, forget Canada GDP, it's just not happening. So I'll tell you what, maybe we've learned that maybe don't trade it when you have the quarterly data, or accept the fact that when